Saturday morning cartoons. As a kid, there really was nothing better than waking up early on a Saturday morning, grabbing a huge bowl of Cocoa Puffs, and vegging out in front of the TV. Saturday morning television is where I learned all the important life lessons that a kid needed to know. Lessons like the importance of honesty, hard work, saying no to drugs, and to never, under any circumstances, trust anyone with a goatee. As Garfield, DuckTales, and Captain Planet taught me, goatees are evil. One of the first tropes young TV audiences encounter is the evil twin. Usually a photo negative of the main character in areas like moral alignment, temperament, and even costume. All of these not-so-subtle hints are aimed towards the goal of showing, rather than telling audiences that our hero now faced an enemy who matched them in all conceivable ways, save one crucial and often dangerous detail. The evil twin lacks any of our main characters' moral or ethical scruples. Storylines featuring an evil twin usually follow a predictable pattern, but in its structure, writers find the blueprints for a storyline of unparalleled growth for their main characters. Characters never emerge completely unchanged or unsinged after dealing with their evil twin. Some may recoil after being confronted by someone who is at once so similar to themselves, yet also so different. Willow, the usually soft-spoken sidekick in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, finds not only confidence from her evil vampire twin, she also begins to discover her latent sexuality. In The Legend of Zelda, Link is often forced to fight a dark clone of himself, forcing the player to level up their skills or to try new and innovative strategies to win. Dr. Zoidberg's evil twin is, well, he's blue. As a child, I could never figure out what was with the evil goatee. Why do so many evil twins seem to sport this facial fashion? Is it the goatee that makes them evil? Does it just sprout there on their own when they become evil? Were they born with it? What I'm about to reveal started out as one of those shower thoughts, but soon led me down a rabbit hole that spanned the better part of the 20th century. The threads I connect today will weave a tale to show you why goatees are the preferred facial hair of evil twins everywhere. The evil twins' goatee first graced American screens on October 6, 1967, in the Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror. In the episode, Captain Kirk and a few members of his crew are transported to a parallel universe, one that is more violent, dark, and oppressive than our own. It also seems to be suffering from some galactic cloth shortage. Seriously, where did everybody's sleeves go? On materializing aboard the Mirror Universe's Enterprise, Kirk is greeted by his second-in-command, Mr. Spock. Viewers can immediately tell something is off. This isn't our Spock with his normal calm and logical demeanor. No, this is evil Spock. Oh, sorry, wrong Spock. There we go. Evil Spock. See, you can tell he's evil because he has a goatee. The writers show us just how inverted the Mirror Universe is from our normal Star Trek universe. In the episode, we see numerous examples of the effects of this twisted timeline. Female officers often have to endure unwanted sexual advances. Sulu sports a wicked scar across his face. And Chekhov suffers in the aptly named agonizer booth. These all make sense if you wanted to show a darker, violent, and more evil timeline. So what's with Spock's goatee? What's so evil about his goatee? Could it be an oversight? Something that was added just because? Could it be that Leonard Nimoy just didn't want to shave that day? Could it be the makeup crew going for something a little different?
Could it be Satan?
Well, yeah, it is actually because of Satan. Or, more accurately, the early stages of the Satanic Panic. Let's take a deeper dive into Star Trek history here for a second. Franchise creator Gene Roddenberry included Nimoy's Spock in the original Star Trek pilot as the Enterprise's science officer under Captain Christopher Pike. While the show's network, NBC, was impressed enough to commission a second pilot episode with a largely new cast, they insisted that Roddenberry exclude Spock moving forward. The network's rationale had nothing to do with Nimoy's actual performance. In reality, they loved Nimoy. Instead, the studio heads were concerned that the character's pointed ears, which were intended to signify his alien heritage, would be perceived as satanic, and therefore offend viewers in the Bible Belt of the United States. NBC even went as far as to airbrush Spock's ears in some of the early promotional material for the series. And looking at events during that time, the studio's worries were understandable. Earlier that year, Anton LaVey, a full-time Ming the Merciless impersonator, kicked off his Church of Satan. So nefarious characters were fresh on everyone's mind.
Doctor, do I understand him correctly? Are you casting me in the role of Satan?
Not at all, Captain.
Is there anyone on this ship who even remotely looks like Satan?
I am not aware of anyone who fits that description, Captain.
No, Mr. Spock, I didn't think you would.
Luckily, Spock was quickly accepted by the fans and became one of the most iconic characters in all of Star Trek. But when time came to place Spock in an alternate evil timeline, Roddenberry decided to give our favorite Vulcan a goatee. It was a little dig at the studio. I can almost hear him say, "See, now he looks like the devil." Well, yeah, sure. Now we know why Spock's twin had a goatee. And I mean, hey, Star Trek has been such a huge cultural phenomenon that it's gone on to influence countless pieces of media. It's obvious that a few writers, months, years, or even decades later would pay homage to the show not tell Evil Goatee. And with that, Spock's evil goatee has graced the faces of evil twins everywhere from the 1960s onward. This was all just Gene having a laugh at overly cautious studio executives. But that doesn't answer the question, why is the goatee seen as nefarious? Why does the devil have a goatee? A lot of modern depictions from about the 1930s onward show the devil as a red man with a goatee. Why do we tend to view old Satan this way? It wasn't always this way. I mean, in classical art, the devil is depicted like this, as a fallen angel, or as a bestial creature like this, or some sort of monster that's going to devour the souls and, other parts of human beings. What happened between the Renaissance and modern times? Why is the devil now most recognized in the West as a red dude with a goatee? What if I told you it had something to do with someone who was a little more community-minded? Leon Trotsky was certainly no stranger to propaganda. As the leader of the Bolshevik Revolution, he often employed his own propaganda. But the anti-Bolsheviks had an ace up their sleeve in the meme department. You see, they made Trotsky into the Red Devil. After all, he was the founder of the Red Army, and he was seen as a threat to the traditions of the current Russian establishment. Trotsky wasn't the only one to be literally demonized by political opponents. A certain famous goateed Soviet and comrade of Trotsky, one Vladimir Lenin, was also depicted as a red devil in pamphlets, flyers, and posters. In the early 1910s, Russian anti-Bolshevik propaganda often depicts Trotsky and his followers as devils or some sort of satanic force that's waging battle with the largely Christian traditions of the Russian people. Certainly cementing this seditious southern hairstyle as the supreme shave of Satan's in human psyches everywhere from the 1910s onward. First in Russia, and later in the US, during the Cold War period especially. It's little wonder how the devil soon took on a red hue and an iconic goatee. It was all too easy to paint Lenin and Trotsky as red devils. Eventually, this would pick up in the psyches of even those of us here in the West, as ideas will always find a way to stick around. So, from the red devil of communism to a Vulcan's mirror universe counterpart, the noble goatee has graced our screens for years, often hinting to audiences that a character wearing it is an evil twin or has sinister intentions. Before I go, I'd like to thank all the evil twins out there who are rocking the evil goatee. Keep doing you. You've made it this far. Thanks for sticking around and watching the whole video. I did want to point out that there's one more infamous goatee that I didn't mention. He's far older than Lenin or Trotsky, but it's Mephistopheles from Faust. Faust isn't really a communist tale, so I decided not to add it. I just wanted to show that, yeah, I did my research, and there could be one more nefarious goatee and a reason why human beings, or at least us here in the West, tend to see a goatee as something evil or nefarious. Also, it took me way too long to spell Mephistopheles while looking that up in Google. Like, it took me a long, long time, just on Google giving it my best. It got so bad my FBI agent thought I was having a stroke and sent an ambulance to my house. So, that was nice of him at least. Alright, thanks, Phil.